All right, so thanks everyone for joining. Today we're going to be talking about Google Sheets and we're going to be talking about creating charts. So as you guys know, we've been going through Google Sheets for the last couple of weeks and we've looked at a couple different things in Sheets. We looked at how to create a sheet. We looked at how to get to Google Sheets in the first place, right? It's from your Gmail accounts. You just click on these apps over here and then you go to Sheets. And then from there, of course, we have all of our old ones, all the things that we've created previously. All those files are here. And then you can also create new files here. Once we're in Sheets, we've looked at creating different tabs at the bottom. If you have different things that you're working on, you can have multiple tabs at the bottom in one book. So this is a sheet. So this one has 3 sheets, one for investment performance, one for pizza toppings, and another for customer purchasing. And each one of these sheets has different information on it, right? So sometimes you're working on a project and you have multiple sheets because you're tracking different things, right? And so we've talked about that. We've talked about how to format your columns and so forth. We've talked about how to get currency, like this is euro here. Um, just as a quick reminder on how to do that, once you select the currency value, you can come here to format, and then you can go to number, and then you can go to custom currency. So this is where you can select any of these currencies here that you see on the screen, and it'll make it in that currency. So let's actually switch it. So right now it's euro. Let's just switch it to US dollar. And you can see that there's lots of different ones, right? Kenyan shilling, Albanian, Argentine peso, Australia dollar, Bahrainian dinar, lots of different currencies here. But we'll leave it at USD for now. And you see that it just changes it to the dollar sign here. And so we've looked at a bunch of different things. We've looked at how to use this toolbar up here to do things like put borders around your things. You fill colors, like this is filled with black here. And we changed the text actually to white. And so in today's lesson, we're going to take it a step further and we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at how to start visualizing your data. And this is so important. This is one of the most important topics I think we'll teach throughout the session is data visualization, right? So it's one thing to have a chart like this that you can look at and you can see, okay, so in January my investment was worth $1,500 and it went like this, and then in December it ended up at 3,300. That's nice, but a lot of people these days, especially when you log into your bank account or any other app that you log into, it has a dashboard, and that's normally looks something like this, and it has like graphs and charts, and it shows you how your, money's performing and so forth. And so we're going to talk about today how to go from having a table and converting that into a chart, also known as data visualization, because most people are actually visual learners. And so most people would prefer to look at a chart over a table. And we're going to spend some time today looking at all the different ways that we can do that so that you have the options of it doing this, or you can create this chart. And so the first chart that we're going to look at, and we're going to create all 3 of these. I've already went ahead and created them because I wanted to just show you what our end product is going to be. So the first chart is a line chart. This is a line chart. You can see here I've kind of done some formatting on it, but a line chart is really good for showing trends. Anytime you're looking at trends, things like, how's my investment performance doing in this case, right? So we had an investment of $1,500 in January, and we can watch it grow and go down, but we can see the trends and we can see overall very quickly, even at a quick glance, you can see that it grew from January to December, even though it went up and down, right? So these are very good for showing trends. I use line charts a lot when I'm trying to show like upper management or people that I'm working with the direction that something might be going. Okay. The next one here we'll look at. Anybody know what this one's called? It's a pie chart,
Pie
right?
charts.
Yeah, pie chart. And pie charts are really helpful when you want to show the percentage of a whole. right? So for instance, in this case, I just made a quick example of I took a survey of people's favorite pizza topping. And so here we have the results of that survey in a table, and it's good, but if you look at this visualization of it over here, you can see very quickly, you see this bigger slice here, is the 97 people said that sausage was their favorite pizza topping, right? And also, one thing that the chart does automatically is it gives you those percentages. So you can see that the number's 97, and that correlates with this number here, right? Where it says sausage and 97 people said that was their favorite. But the chart automatically gives you that percentage also, where it's showing you that is 32% of the population that voted. So 32 out of 100 people voted that sausage was their favorite. So I really like pie charts when you want to show majority or minimum. So you want to show the relationship between many options and which one, is taking up the most or which one might taking up the least. This is very important, especially when you're dealing with businesses who are trying to understand what's going on in their business. Pie charts can give them indicators and clues into what's going on. For instance, in a pie chart, you could say, what is our, maybe you did a survey and you said, well, what is our age group that buys the most from us? And if you have that data, right, because every time you go to Fred Meyer, what do you put in Fred Meyer? Every time you check out at Fred Meyer, what do they want you to put in? They want you to put your phone number in, right? Well, why do they want your phone number? They want your phone number because that ties back to your account. And in your account, it has your age, maybe, or at least your age range. It has your zip code, probably. Obviously, it has your phone number and maybe some other metrics in there that they can use to gain some intelligence about who's buying what at their store. And then that helps them make informed decisions on how to better serve their customers, because then now they know their customer, because they know their buying pattern. And it also helps them predict inventory levels. For instance, let's say stores know that during the summer, people love making s'mores. Now that's an assumption. You can think, well, oh, of course, people like to sit around the fire in the summer and break out the graham crackers and marshmallows and the chocolate, and they love to make s'mores. But you can't just say that on a hunch. You might need more data to show that. And then how much more do you need to buy if you're a Fred Meyer and started like purchasing items to put on the shelf? How do you know how much to buy so that you're not buying too much and you're not buying too little, but you're buying enough based on the data, right? And so using data is they're able to see that, oh yeah, last year during the summer, sales of those items went up by 45%. So now they can anticipate and they can direct their decision making in their business based off of data and not just a hunch. Because we all know that that's what's happening, right? We all know that during the summer people buy more s'mores, but could you put a number to it, right? And that's what the data allows you to do, and it makes it more real. So yeah, this is one of my favorite charts right here, is the pie chart. Very easy to look at, and I really enjoy this one. The last one here that we're going to take a look at is a bar chart. Bar charts are nice when you have a lot of data and you want to see how it relates to each other. So in this case, I just made a quick spreadsheet here and called it Federal Way Walmart shirt sales by month and color, right? So these are the color of t-shirts, these are the months, and let's say this is the data on how many shirts were sold of each color in each month. And so we can look in January, for instance, and we can see that the most popular one was the red line, which is the blue shirts. Here we can see in February, black shirts became the most popular. During the summer, it looks like white shirts and black shirts were pretty popular. Okay. Blue shirts went down. And so again, this is just all really good data visualization skills. And I want to show you guys how to do this. I do not expect that you guys will know how to do this after today's training, like immediately. I am recording this though, and I would really encourage you guys to go back to our Mission Africa YouTube page. This will be up no later than Sunday. Go back to our Mission Africa YouTube page and review this. I'll put the Mission Africa YouTube page in the link right now. So as you can see, we already have, this was last week's lesson on large data sets in Google. We put it up 2 days ago. It's had 21 reviews, and Introduction to Google Sheets is 11 reviews. So this one will be posted here at least by Sunday at the latest. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and remove all of these charts, and we're going to come back and recreate each one of these charts as a demonstration. So we'll start with this one. This is going to be a line chart again, because we want to be able to show the trend of where this investment went from $1,500 to where it went to $3,300. And to do that, it's pretty simple. Once you have your chart like this, you just select this data here, and then we go to Insert up here at the top, and we go to Chart. So Insert and then Chart. And it went ahead and made us a chart, right? So it already uses some like intelligence and some machine learning to understand the data and understand how do you want it to actually look, right? So it didn't even go to a bar chart. It didn't go to a pie chart. It knew that this is probably going to be best if we put this into a line graph. And so you can see that I just moved it around because initially it was on top of it. So to move the chart around, the first thing you do is you can just click somewhere in the white space. You don't want to click in here where there's any writing or anything. You need to click in like the white space that does this kind of dead. You click and hold, and then you can move that chart over to somewhere where it's not covering your table. Okay. And so we have this chart in here now. And now I want to show you how to customize it. As you can see here, as we move our mouse along, we can, as I put my mouse on February, the dot here shows me that the value is 1650. It shows me that it's 2600 there, 17, and then at the end it shows that it was 3300. So it's a nice little chart. It's pretty basic right now though, so let's do some customization to it to make it look a little bit more professional. So to do that, you can right click again somewhere in the white area here, or we can just double click. So when I double click in the white area, this kind of dead area in the chart, it brings up some information over here. Over here, we have chart type, and then we're on the setup tab. So there's two tabs here, setup and customize. We'll go through the customize tab in a little bit, but so far I've just right clicked on the white part of the graph, and see here it says line chart. This is where you can change the type of chart. So what are some of the options? You have like a column chart. You have an area chart, which might look like that. You have lines. You can do a combo chart. There's so many different values that you can do. You know, you can do a stack chart. You can do the squiggly line. So there are a lot of different options. I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the line chart for today. Okay. And we're not going to mess with any of that. It says use row one as headers. Yes, because I did highlight the row one here, which was the information that tells the chart what this data is. So in this case, investment date. Notice that it put investment date here at the bottom. And it took all these months, January through December, and it put them here at the bottom. And then it took account balance and it put it here on the side. And then here we have our numbers, right? And then it shows the relationship between those months and the value of your investment. Okay, so we're done on the setup. Let's go over to customize. This is where you can start to make it look more professional. So I'm going to go ahead and click on chart style here. Let's look at what we have as options. So we have background color. What can you do with background color? I'm going to make it black. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, so notice that some of my writing went away. So that's not great. Maybe we can go with like a dark gray. Don't love that. Maybe we can go with like a light gray. That's not bad. Let's see. Font. So this is going to be what do you want the actual letters to look like? So you can change that here. I'm going to go with Georgia. Notice that it changes what the letters look like a little bit. And then chart border color. So that's the border around the edge. Right now, it doesn't really have a border. Okay. So clicking here, I'm going to go to customize and let's go to chart style and chart border color. Let's just do a little bit of black. See, it puts that line around the edges now. Okay. All right. I'm going to click back in here. Go back to customize. So that's it really for the chart style. Let's go to the next option, chart and axis title. So I just click this. So you see this arrow here. When I click this arrow, it brings down the options there. So let's look at, so right now, the title of the chart is here, account balance versus investment date. We'll leave it with that. That's fine. But if you wanted to change it, this is where you could type it in and change it right here. We'll leave the font alone. Title font size. So how big do we want this to be bigger? I would want it bigger and I would want it to be in the middle of the page. I want it to stand out. So let's go ahead and make the font a little bit bigger. Let's go with 24. I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to bring it to center alignment. So that's going to bring it to the middle of the page. Notice that it now is centered. And then I'm going to change the color to black. Make it stand out a little bit more, okay? All right, so that's it for that part. Now let's go to series and see what we got. So account balance. That's the only series we have. We can change the color of that line. If you don't want a blue line, that's fine. Change the color of the line right here. Let's go with a red line. Okay, opacity. So what does that mean? Let's look at what that means. So 100% right now, what if we do 30%? Did you notice that it got a little bit like, it's almost like shaded, right? So if we go with 10%, it's almost gonna be see-through. So it's very faded there at 10%. So I don't like that. I'm gonna actually bring that opacity all the way back to 100 because I want my line to be nice and bold. I do want it to be thicker though, right? So you can change the type of line here, line dash type. I'm just going to stay with a bold line. I want to make it a little bit thicker. Point size, what is see? So the point shape, so right now doesn't really have one. Let's see if we go with star. Does that do anything? No, let's go with 10. So notice that it is adding some kind of like a little dot where the data has some information. Okay. And then I like to put on data labels, and you'll see what that means here. When I do data labels, it brings in the information and shows the actual value at that location. Okay. They're a little bit cumbersome and a little bit big though. Let's see if we can make them fit here a little bit. I just made them a little bit smaller and we'll go with below. How about that? That looks a little bit better to me. And text color for that, let's do black. So now we have our line and we have the values below it. And I'm just going to leave it at that, okay? Our legend. So our legend, if we change the color here, it's going to be on the bottom. So that's just account balance. And I'm just going to take that off. Doesn't really add anything. So we'll leave that alone for now. Horizontal axis. So this is the horizontal axis at the bottom here where it says January through December. And then of course your vertical axis would be here, right? Going up and down. So let's look at what our options are for horizontal axis. We can change the font. We can change the label font size. I'll make it a little bit bigger. See, it just made these a little bit bigger here. And then text color, let's go with blue. Why not? And you can even slant it a little bit. If you go with 30%, see how it slants it just a little bit there. Okay. Let's go to vertical axis. We'll do the same thing. We'll go with blue also. We're going to show the axis line, and that looks good to go. And then grid lines and ticks, show major ticks. That just shows these little tick values here, so you can line up February with that value, line up March with that value. Okay. So this is our chart. It's a nice chart. Looks decent. You know, you could play around with the colors, of course, and make it whatever you want it to be. But in this case, we just changed the background color. We added some labels on the line. We made it a little bit thicker. And this is a nice chart that you can then insert into a report. And that's the thing that I really like about starting to work with data is all the programs start to work together. In this case, you have a chart, and I'm going to go ahead and open up a Google Doc. Some of you were with us when we did our Google Doc training. I want to open up a blank Google Doc, and I'm going to say, let's just say we're writing a report to a customer, and we say, hello, customer, here is your trailing 12 months investment report. Please let us know if you have any questions about the performance of your portfolio. Okay, so there's two ways that we could show them their performance. We could simply copy the table here, and I'm just clicking on A1, which is the cell, right? A1. And of course, this is B1, B1 being column B, row 1. That's B1. This is B2. So I would take just copy and paste the table. I would select the entire thing, including the column headers. And then we would go to copy. We could go back to the Google Doc, and then we could just do paste. So you have an option here. If you link it to the spreadsheet, when I paste this, it will actually change. If I change this original here, it'll also change in this document. But I'm just, for the purposes of today's class, going to do unlinked. And so there's the chart. So they can look at their performance on this table here, or we can come back here and just click again somewhere in this dead area on the table, or the graph rather, and you want to right click. I'm sorry, click here on the three dots and hit copy chart. Okay, so it copies it, and then you can come back over to the Google Doc, put your cursor where you want the chart to be inserted. So I just put my cursor down here below the table. Then I'm going to go to edit, and then I want to paste. Again, let's do unlinked. And now you have the chart inside this document. So this makes for a really nice way to show your customers or anybody that you might be working with. You give them the option of, hey, you can look at your data in a table, and you can also look at it in a chart. Does anyone have any questions about this bar chart? I know I went through it a little bit quick than I normally would, but I want to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to see me make the next two. Any questions about that? The bar chart, or how to get it over into the Word document or the Google Doc? No. Okay, sounds good. All right, let's go ahead and move back to the next one then. So the next one here is pizza toppings. So here we have, we took a survey, quote unquote. So I'm just pretending that we took a survey. Let me go ahead and format a little bit. So I want to kind of clean up my spreadsheet, make it look a little bit better. So I'm going to have voting results cover columns A and B, and I do that here. And then I'm going to align it center to get it in the middle. I want to make it bold. I'm going to give it a little background color. Let's go with black, which means we need to change our text to white. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger font. Okay. I'm also going to format these as bold. I'm going to center align those. And let's put a little bit of background color on these. We'll just go with like a light gray. I'm going to open it up a little bit, and then I'm going to put some borders in here. So to do the borders, I just select everything, click on borders, and I can click this one, and it'll give me borders all there, right? So it looks nice and neat, and we're good to go. So we have our table done, but now we want to actually be able to show this in a pie chart because we want to see percentages. We want to see at a quick glance, I want to be able to look at a quick graph and see which one is their favorite, or maybe the second favorite, or the third favorite. And so, again, the first thing you just do is just select the data, including the labels. Don't need the voting results up top. So you just need the column headers, which is these two, and the actual data. And then we go to Insert. And just like we did last time, we're going to go to Chart. And look at that. It already knew that I wanted a pie chart. So these machines are very, very smart, and they understand what you're trying to do a lot of times before we even do it, which is a lot of fun. Makes my job easy. And so here I'm going to just, again, in the white area, I'm just going to kind of move this to where I want it at. And then let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. So we have a nice chart here, shows that the number one topping is sausage. And then what do we have? And then pepperoni here in blue, and then red, which is green peppers, etc. Okay, so let's go to customize, and we can go to chart style. Again, we can change the background color. So let's go with black. That's sharp. I like that. The font, let's go with wide. And then the chart border color, let's go with maybe red. Okay. We can make it 3D. I like that a lot. Yep, we'll keep it like this. So we made it 3D just by clicking on that right there. Instead of looking at it as 2D, we can make it 3D, which is nice. And then let's go to pie chart, and let's see what we got. We can put a donut hole in the middle. So let's look at what that does. So a donut hole is when we go 25%. See, it just puts like that hole in the middle. Just the extra little flair, 50%. Okay, just depends on what you want to do with it. I'll do 25%, sure. Let's see. Slice labels. Let's see what that does. Oh, okay, that puts a little label in there. So it's telling you that this is sausage or pepperoni. Let's do the percent. Yeah, I like that. We can make the font a little bit smaller so we can see more. We can change the text color, which is going to be important for this one, because if you notice, the text over here is it's hard to see. So let's see what happens. Let's see if we can clean that up a little bit. Let's see. So that's that text color. And so we're good there. Let's go to pie slices. And here you can actually change the color for each one. So for pepperoni, if we wanted a different color, we could go here and go with this color. Or we could go with this color if we wanted to do that. Okay. So I'm not gonna mess with that, but we could change the color for each one if we wanted. Chart and titles. Let's see what we got. Title text color looks like gray. Let's maybe go with red. And we're going to say votes for pizza toppings. Favorite pizza toppings. Okay. And then again, let's center it. Let's go with bold. And let's make it just a little bit bigger so that it takes up a nice bit of space on the top. Okay. And then legend, which we don't have in this one. And so I'm just going to leave that alone. I do want to figure out how to change this over here. Let's see if we can change the text color because it's kind of hard to read. There we go. There we go. So now we have some nice text colors. What about the numbers colors? Let's see, legend format. Font size is good. We'd go a little bit bigger. No, that's too big. 14 looks good. And we can do that at the bottom also. You can move it down to the bottom so you can have the colors at the bottom, or we can have it labeled where it like connects to each one of the pie slices like this one. Okay. So let's click off. Let's see what we, okay. This one's not bad. I don't like the red labeling here though. Let's go back and change that. The red letters on the inside, not liking that a lot. So let's go back here and let's just make those black. And let's make them just a little bit bigger. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is your pie chart. So again, a pie chart is really useful for being able to demonstrate percentages of a whole. And again, at a quick glance, we can see that, okay, so sausage is the favorite one, and then or then pepperoni, and then green peppers. I really like these. I prefer to use these charts. I use these a lot at work. And I would encourage you guys to practice making this one because this one's a very useful one. Again, if you want to move it into your Word or your Google Doc, we just want to click up here. You can actually download the chart, okay, as a PDF or a photo. But in this case, we just want to copy the chart. And then again, we can go back over to the Google Doc and find our cursor. And again, now our cursor is at the top of page 2. I'll zoom out a little bit so you guys can see. So this is page 1, and now we have page 2, and I can come here to edit, and I can paste. Paste unlinked. And then here on page 2 now, we have our chart that we've inserted into the document. And it's nice and easy to read. And I can't tell you just like how many times, every meeting that I'm on at work right now, there is a chart that looks something like this because it's just easier to read than having to kind of go through and try to figure out what you're looking at when you're looking at a table like this. Okay. Any questions on the pie chart? No? Okay. All right, let's go through the last one here. So the last chart, this one's going to have a little bit more data. And I did that intentionally because we just took a survey of Federal Way Walmart's shirt sales by month and color. So again, I'm just going to format this again. So all of this information is written in A1, right? So it's not in B. I know it looks like it covers all of these, but all the information is actually in A1 is where I wrote it as. So you can see it's all here. Because if I go to B1, for instance, notice that there's nothing here because there's actually not any text here. It's just the text is bigger than what can fit in the cell, so it ran over. But the text is actually all in A1. There's nothing in B1, there's nothing in C1 or even D1. But let's say I did want to stretch this text across these columns. I would select A1 and bring it over to D1 and then hit this button right here called Merge Cells. And then it merges these cells. So now they all are one cell. And let's go ahead and center a line. We'll make a bold. Let's give it a nice color and make it a little bit bigger. So there's our title. Let's even give it a little black background. Why not? And then here we can also come up with some color just really quick. We can maybe do blue. Okay. And so now we have some blue. And then now we can start to get ready to create our chart. So in this case, we're going to be creating a chart to show a bar chart, which is like relationships between a lot of data and the relationship within the month. So we're going to see a column for each one of these, and you'll see how it graphs it here and it's going to be really easy to see. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab all this data. Again, you don't need the title. You just need the column headers and the row headers to show that information, and the chart will know what to do with it. I'm going to go to Insert. I'm going to go to Chart. And it initially actually came up with a line chart, okay, which is not bad. The line chart shows black shirt sales did this, all right? So it kind of went this way. You can look at the blue ones in red, or in yellow, we have white t-shirts, right? So that's okay, but I want to change the type of chart. And we can do that through setup. So again, if this isn't over here, let's say that that bar is not over there. First of all, let's move our chart so it's not covering our data. So there we go. Okay, so we got our chart. So to get that menu up over here where you can customize everything, again, you can just double click and it brings up all the information. We got a couple people joining us. Let me let them get in. All right. Welcome, everyone. I saw we just had a couple new folks join. Today, we're talking about data visualization and how to take charts or how to take spreadsheets and turn them into charts. So again, I'm going to double click here and see that it says line chart is the type. So we want to switch that, and see it gives you even a preview here of what all the different charts would look like. So let's say we went with this one here. That's not bad. It's kind of cool. The area chart. We could go with let's say like a scatter chart where it just shows all the data points. It doesn't actually put any lines there. We could go with a bar chart that looks like that, but I want to go with this bar chart here. We're going to stick with this one for now. Okay. And so we have our bar chart, and it's showing that in January, these were the different sales. In February, these were the sales of the different colors. Now you might be saying to yourself, can we make it black, blue, and white so that it actually matches? Because right now we're saying black shirts, but it has a blue color. So let's look at that actually. So I'm going to double click on this one, and it says format data point. Let's see. So this one actually, text formatting. Let's go in here, and it should be under series. Let's see. Position. I have to always look around this thing too, because they do move things around, but we'll figure it out. Just 1 second. Okay, here we go. So under series, I went to this one that says black, but we're going to change the fill color and we're going to actually make it black. Okay. How about the one that says blue? Let's make it fill color blue. And then the one that is white, let's make the fill color white. Now you can't see that though, so now we need to put like a line around that one or something, right? Um, and maybe take off some of that opacity. Yeah, let's do for the white one, we got to make it stand out a little bit more just because it's hard to see. Okay, there we go. So now we have white, and white is actually a white line. It's blue for the blue ones, and then black is corresponding to the black t-shirts that were sold. And so as you can see here, if you look at this bar chart, we can see here that in December, black shirts did really well. In the winter months here, and then in the middle in June, July, August, white t-shirts performed a little bit better than they did during the winter months. And so you can see some trend analysis there. Let's see. So I'm going to go back to the top again. And let's look at our different options. So again, we have a background color. I'm going to go ahead and choose a background color that's maybe a little bit darker just to give us some contrast. Let's look at that one. See, now we can see our white line way better because we have a nice background color, right? So that looks good. What happens if we go to 3D? Gives it a little bit of oomph, nothing too crazy. Chart border color, we'll go with black. And then the font, we can make it a little bit stronger, right? I like that one. That's a little bit bolder, stands out a little bit better. Okay. All right. So that's it for chart style. Let's go to chart axis and title. So here we see it says just black, blue, and white. Well, what does that mean? Let's fix that. Let's do Walmart shirt sales by color and month. So notice that it updated it here on the actual chart. And let's go ahead and make it bold. Let's make it black and color. And then let's bring it to the center until we want it to be centered on the chart. Good looking chart so far. I'm liking it. Again, let's double click, customize. So let's go to series. I think we did everything we wanted to do with series here. Again, you can apply formats to all of the series. And a series is just the black, the blue, and the white. So that those are the series, as you see, black, blue, or white. So that's the actual data, right? So that's this information over here. So you have a series for black, you have a series for blue, and you have a series for white. And that shows up here in the chart. All right, let's see. For all of them, we can give them a little bit of a thicker line. Sure. Let's go with 4. Okay. And you can put the axis on the left or right. So I just moved it to the right. Okay. And we can even put data labels, but it's probably going to get a little busy. Yeah, a little bit busy. So I don't really like that too much. So I'll take that off. Keeps it nice and clean. Sorry about that. Okay. So that's it for our series. So we just kind of played around with the colors a little bit and we moved the axis over to the right. Our legend, let's see what that looks like. So our legend is this little label here, the black, the blue, and the white. I just moved it to the bottom. You can move it around, right? You can move it to the left, move it to the right. You can even do it inside of the chart where it puts it in here. And we can change that text color, but I think everything looks good. So I'm just going to leave that mostly alone. Horizontal axis is again this part here at the bottom, the month labels, for instance. And I'm not going to make any changes there. The right vertical axis would be this one. And let's see, I'll show axis line. It just adds a little line there. And then the last thing I like to do is look at grid line and ticks, and we can do right axis. Let's see, major ticks, minor grid lines. And then we can also do the horizontal axis and do major ticks. It just puts that little ticker at the bottom. Doesn't look real good, so we don't need that. Let's go back to the right one again. And yeah, looks good. Grid line color. We'll take off the minor ones. For the major ones, let's go with a black line. Makes it a little bit more definitive. So it looks nice and strong there, right? So this is my favorite chart we've made today, by the way. I think this one looks really sharp. We got some nice contrasting colors and so forth. So again, last step would be normally you wouldn't present your chart here, but we haven't done this, but I'm actually going to show you really quick how to put this into like a PowerPoint slide, but it's called Google Slides. So again, from your apps, Google Slides. And if we do a blank presentation, we can go ahead and delete this information here. Don't need any of that. And let's go back to our chart. So I'm going to, again, from the top right corner in the chart, you see these 3 dots. We call that the hamburger. From there, you can just do your normal left click, copy chart. We can come back to the presentation, so the Google slide, and then we just want to do edit and paste. Again, you could paste linked, but that's more complicated, so I won't play around with that today. We'll just paste unlinked, and there's your chart. And then you can kind of space it out, make it a little bit bigger, center it, and then when you do a slideshow, now you have a chart that takes up the whole entire page, and you're ready to present your information to leadership. So I love this chart. I think this is a good one. And you can do all of this, what we did on this one, with the other charts also. So just want to demonstrate how all the programs work together. So you create the chart here in Google Sheets. You can paste it into a document like this, or you can even paste it into a presentation like this. So I'm actually going to grab the other two. I'm just going to copy them, and I'm going to put them into our presentation. Go back and grab the first one. And now we have a nice presentation. If we go into slideshow mode, you can see that it's showing that chart. We have that chart and that one. And I think I see a hand raised. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, sorry again. I want to ask this question. If you're doing the presentation, you putting it in Photoshop or where? Where do you copy and post to do the presentation, please?
Yes, great question. So this is in Google Slides. So the same way that we got to Google Docs and Sheets, there's a program called Google Slides right here. Okay, so it's just like PowerPoint. And so when we did that, I'll close this out real quick. So when I clicked here and again, you just logged into your Google account and I go to Slides, then it's going to open this up, and this is just like PowerPoint, right? So you go to blank presentation, and then you can just paste your charts into there, just like you did the same way you pasted them here into the doc. You can paste them here into the presentation. And if you want to see what your presentation is going to look like, you just hit this slideshow button here. So when we start up classes again in August and going forward, we'll teach on some of this. But I wanted to just show you guys just briefly today the power of being able to take your chart that you make here and then put it into a presentation. It looks really professional. And
Okay,
people,
thank you so much. I appreciate
yeah.
that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So play with this in the next couple months, and I think you'll really like it because it's really sharp for a presentation, right? Looks really nice on the page versus showing people words and spreadsheets. It's much more fun to show a chart like this and then talk through the chart than it is to put up a bunch of numbers and text. This is much easier to look at, and it makes for a better discussion when when you have a chart up there versus words. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yes, I have question again. Sorry.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, the same way you do the presentation, the graph, taking the graph to paste it to the PowerPoint. Can you do the wordings as well? Is that possible? Like we did in the in
Like
war. Take
like
the
this,
yeah yes
the
the,
table?
yeah, the table, to take the table and put in the
Yes.
presentation. Is that possible as well?
100%. 100%. These all these programs work together. So
Oh,
again,
okay
you,
then.
you just again select the data that you want to move, go to
Mhm.
edit, go to copy, go back over to the presentation. You have to make a new slide, so you got somewhere to put it. So I just do Control M, but
Mhm.
you can always go to like just insert new slide,
Okay,
or the shortcut is Control M,
okay.
right? So
Thank you.
you get a new slide, and then you just edit paste. Again, you can paste linked and so forth. I'll just do
Mhm.
unlinked. And then here's your document. To move it around, you need to make sure that your mouse looks like that plus sign, and then you can just move it around there. Okay. I'll delete some of this background stuff, and then there you go. There's so see, like, would you rather look at this
Mhm.
or this?
Okay, that's
It's
good.
the same thing, right? I'll put them next to each other, right? You could show up at a presentation and you could show them this and say, okay, so blue shirts in May was 410 and white shirts was let me look, 345. Or you could put this up and let them see for themselves and they can see the trends here. Much better presentation.